Bignell, and I live in Saxingham Nethergate, a village in Norfolk in England. And I came here 6 years ago for the first time. Took 6 months sabbatical leave from my job in a school in Suffolk, teaching languages. And there I met the very inspirational Bishop of Peru, the Anglican Bishop of Peru, who's called the Right Reverend William Godfrey. And I worked in his school for a while, for my 6 months, and I saw quite a lot of Peru. When I came back, my village and I raised enough money to send 5 to 10 children a year to school there, paying all their expenses, because schools have to be paid for here. There are no free schools. But after a while, 3 years ago, I decided with a bit more effort, we could perhaps put a school of our own somewhere. And I thought at the time that area was quite poor, but I was to find out differently. I went one day with the bishop to visit Pachacutec, which is at the far side, the far north of Lima City, a very, very poor area. And there I saw the poorest circumstances of my time so far in Peru. We were outside. I was wearing a long coat, 2 alpaca jumpers, boots, gloves, and I was freezing. But I was ashamed to say that I looked at women with 1 jumper only, carrying babies who were coughing. The women were shivering, the children were shivering, eyeing up the bread and the eggs that we'd brought with us to share with them, but asking for nothing. And I decided then that day, this is the place where I'm going to put a new school. So we've been fundraising by all manner of means in my village with my family, friends, a university that's helping us, and we've raised quite a lot of money, but where to put it exactly and how to do it. Very, very difficult as a foreigner here to have licenses. There are endless pieces of paper, money to be paid, and I tried for some considerable time to work with the government to have a piece of land donated by them for education, and the deal is that they then pay for the teachers. But it proved impossible to do a deal with them. They asked for too much, and I wasn't willing to give away a penny of our hard-earned money. And there is a long queue of people here waiting to take your money off you, especially if you're a foreigner. So I came out of that last meeting with the government, which was just before Christmas last year, 2007, and I felt very sad, very disappointed, and had nothing to show for my year's efforts so far. But the name of Copradelli had been mentioned by one of the government officials there, and I've got in touch with them. 2 days later, a meeting all day, visits to their recently completed complex. Spectacle. Their complex had everything that I had written 2 years ago in my Project Peru plan. I said, I'm going to put a school where no education currently exists, where no school currently exists, and we're going to have classrooms, but more than that, an ambience for the community, a community dining room, medical post, maybe a bakery, parenting classes, technical workshops for older children, so they can get meaningful jobs later on. But how to do it? I saw this complex. I met the Padre Miguel, a Spanish padre who's been doing this work here for 20 years, which he started in Spain originally. And we very quickly came to an agreement. We have signed, and the Padre doesn't normally do this with other charities, but we have signed an agreement of, shall we say, mutual cooperation. I have pledged to raise money for the rest of my life to support the school that we have now started by all manner of means that I can find at my disposal, animating people, raising money, encouraging volunteers, whatever I can do to help the school. This man has already been doing this for the last 20 years here, in the poorest parts of Callao, Ventanilla and Pachacutec, all of which are north of Lima City. So, how has it gone on? Well, we started and it was like herding cats, as we say in English. The children were racing around the classroom, laying on the floor, running out of the door, trying to escape out the windows, all of which I've got photos of and you can see. Now, when you go there, there's an air of industry and application to work. The children are enjoying themselves, but they're beavering away very diligently. In a few short months, from February the 7th, 2008, when we started constructing the school, to now, October 2008, there are 120 children aged 4 to 8 who sit around a table, very organised, very quietly, listening to their teacher. A very different scene to March when we opened. The children's houses in this very, very poor area often have no furniture. They aren't used to sitting on chairs, much less around a table. So even learning how to behave themselves in a classroom was a big task for them, very difficult for some of them. There's one little boy, Sergio, who does his homework on a plank of wood across 2 bricks that his father found outside. That's the norm. Very little furniture, very little expectations of anything, and very little hope. And that's what I see as our job in Educate Peru to do, to give the children hope, to show their parents a better way forward. How do we do this? We have 4 very well qualified teachers who go on regular training, even so. And we are going to put 2 classrooms at least every year until we arrive at a secondary school, with the technical workshops and so on, as I've already mentioned. In the meanwhile, what is the future? What can you do to help us? Because most of all, I believe those children are simply poor. They aren't unintelligent, quite the reverse. I taught English in the school of Saxlingham St Mary's that started this March for several months, and there are some really clever children there, really clever. They're simply poor. That's all they lack is money. So, what have we already been doing to help? Well, my friend Solia and I collect donations of clothes and furniture here, and every now and again Copradelli lend us their transport, and we go out for the day delivering furniture and things that people desperately need. I keep a tally of everything that we give, what is needed, and we go in search of some more. The second thing we've done, most important of all this year, is to start a godparenting scheme. And for £10 a month, you can be a godparent to a child, and that gives them their hot breakfast every day. And in that soaking sea mist of August, which is at the height of winter here, that is so important. We found children prior to that with their heads on the table asleep because they haven't eaten since the day before. So now, the 22 children up to date that have been godparented have their hot breakfast of rolls and eggs and fruit maybe. It varies every day. Hot chocolate sometimes, sausages, whatever there is. Very soon, when we get to 30 godparents, we can give them breakfast as well as lunch. So that will be a real achievement by then. In addition, they don't have to pay the only payment, which is 10 soles a month, about £1.80, for the classroom assistants and extra spare materials, paper for the walls and so on. That is the only set up in Peru that I know of which is free. You can see a photo of the government equivalent, what the state school system has put in Pachacutec, and I can tell you what it's like. It's like 3 sheds joined together, a plastic roof with holes in it, a sand floor, no windows, no materials, no resources, and the children are supposed to learn. Very, very difficult. That's all that's been provided. Ours is very much better. It's concrete, we have flush toilets, and as the expansions go on, there will be patios, there will be little gardens. It will be as civilised as we can make it. The Padre said to me one day, because they're poor, why shouldn't they have the best? And it's exactly what I agree with. Because they're poor, they deserve better than they can ever otherwise know. The other thing you can do is be a volunteer. We desperately need some quality English teachers, English language teachers, especially at the moment for primary school age. The children are aged at the moment between 4 and 8. Next year will be 2 to 4 more classrooms, so the children will be up to age 10 to 12 maybe, depending how much money we raise. So if you think you could, please contact me and I'll tell you how we can do it. There's 3-month tourist visas for free given on the plane, which you can renew for another 3 months 6 months altogether. And we have accommodation for temporary or longer term nearer to the school, so that helps out to start with. The other thing, of course, all of you can do is keep looking at the blog site, http://educateperu, all one word, .blogspot.com, and see what we've been doing since we opened in March. For the future, in the next 5 years, we want to put the secondary school up on top of the primary school. We want to put these workshops, finish it off completely so it's functioning and will serve maybe 1,000 children, plus parents, plus the community. And generally show Peruvian children, Peruvian parents, the way forward. That education is the answer. It's the first, the middle and the last thing of all that is important to them. It really is. And with your help, we can show them how to do that. We can help them to do it for themselves. In turn, they can help other Peruvians to do that. Thank you for listening.